boleh
Padakannya
Pak.
ya. Paling mundur 5 menit gitu ya.
Oke, betul.
Hmm.
Karena pembicaranya ada kegiatan di fakultas.
Siap, siap. Saya
Iya,
nggak.
boleh. Iya, Pak.
Cek, cek. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable
Waalaikumsalam.
of the Faculty of Humanity, Professor Dr. Alamsyah SSMD, Head of the Library and Information Science Program, Herianto PhD, and all of participants. Welcome to Visiting Professor Digital Activism to Social Media. This event organized by Library and Information Science Program, Faculty of Humanity, Diponegoro University. And joining us today, all the way from University Malaya, Dr. Ali Fauzi bin Ahmad Khan. I am Feby, and I have the pleasure of being from for your Master of Ceremony for today's event. We remind all of participants to change your username to the full name and don't forget to actively contribute in the main session. Selamat pagi seluruh hadirin yang terhormat Dekan Fakultas Ilmu Budaya Universitas Diponegoro, Profesor Dr. Alamsyah SSMU, Ketua Prodi Ilmu Perpustakaan dan Informasi Herianto PhD, dan seluruh hadirin pada pagi hari ini. Selamat datang di kuliah tamu Aktivisme Digital di Media Sosial. Kegiatan ini diselenggarakan oleh Program Studi Ilmu Perpustakaan dan Informasi, Fakultas Ilmu Budaya, Universitas Diponegoro. Dan telah hadir bersama kami Dr. Ali Fauzi bin Ahmad Khan dari University Malaya. Saya Feby dengan senang hati menjadi pembawa acara pada kegiatan pagi hari ini. Kami mengingatkan kepada seluruh peserta untuk mengubah username dengan nama lengkap dan jangan lupa untuk berpartisipasi aktif pada setiap sesi. Let's move to the next session. Let us listen to the report from Head of the Library and Information Science Program. Mr. Herianto, the floor is yours. Marilah kita beranjak ke sesi selanjutnya. Mari kita dengarkan laporan dari Ketua Prodi Ilmu Perpustakaan dan Informasi kepada Pak Heri. Dipersilakan.
Thank you very much, Wahyu Febriola Aminora. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera bagi kita semuanya. Yang saya hormati Bapak Dr. Ali Fauzi bin Ahmad Khan dari University Malaya, Malaysia. Yang saya hormati Profesor Dr. Alam Syah M. Hum, Dekan Fakultas Ilmu Budaya, Bapak Ibu para dosen, kemudian mahasiswa yang sangat saya banggakan. Pertama-tama, marilah kita panjatkan puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala karena pada hari ini kita dapat menyelenggarakan kuliah tamu dengan tema Digital Activism in Social Media. Atas nama program studi dan panitia, saya menyampaikan selamat datang dan terima kasih kepada Dr. Ali Fauzi yang telah berkenan untuk berbagi ilmu dan pengalaman. Isu digital activism semakin relevan bagi kita di ranah ilmu budaya dan ilmu perpustakaan dan informasi, mulai dari advokasi kebijakan publik, literasi informasi, sampai etika penggunaan media sosial. Aktivisme digital ini tidak hanya menyuarakan gagasan, tetapi juga menuntut kecakapan literasi informasi, verifikasi fakta, pemahaman tentang networking, jejaring, serta ethical responsibility, tanggung jawab etis dalam memproduksi dan mendistribusikan konten. Maka saya percaya bahwa disinilah peran akademia, para akademiks, baik itu dosen dan juga terutama mahasiswa, to learn, to research, untuk mengkaji, mengkritisi, sekaligus mempraktekkan partisipasi digital yang berdampak, inklusif, dan evidence-based alias berbasis bukti. Maka melalui kuliah tamu ini kita berharap mahasiswa silakan untuk memahami konsep, strategi, dan tipologi aktivisme digital. Sehingga nanti sama-sama mampu untuk menilai efektivitas informasi kampanye di media sosial melalui data dan metrik yang mungkin sudah tepat. Dan yang paling utama juga adalah kita jadi peka dengan aspek hukum, etika, dan keamanan digital. Dan yang paling penting lagi, semoga di sini nanti kita bersama-sama bisa mengembangkan kolaborasi lintas disiplin antara studi kebudayaan dan informasi. Terima kasih. Mungkin begitu laporan saya kepada Pak Dekan. Terima kasih Pak Dekan dan pimpinan fakultas atas dukungan dan juga kepada tim panitia yang menyiapkan acara ini. Tak lupa serta kepada seluruh peserta yang antusias. Harapan kami semoga kegiatan ini menjadi pemantik diskusi kritis dan karya nyata, baik dalam pembelajaran maupun pengabdian kepada masyarakat. Akhirul kalam, mari kita sambut narasumber kita, Bapak Dr. Ali Fauzi bin Ahmad Khan. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Harry, for the report. Next, let's all listen to the speech from Dean of Faculty of Humanity, Profesor Dr. Alam Syah. The floor is yours. Selanjutnya, marilah kita mendengarkan sambutan dari Dekan Fakultas Ilmu Budaya kepada Profesor Alam Syah. Kami persilakan.
Okay. Thank you very much to Master of Ceremony. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My voice is clear? Suara saya jelas ya?
Jelas, Prof.
Ya, baik. Terima kasih. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Excellencies, the Honorable Guest Speaker, Bapak Dr. Ali Fauzi bin Ahmad Khan from University Malaya, Malaysia. Thank you telah bergabung dalam virtual Zoom meeting. The Head of the Library of Information Science Study Program, Faculty of Humanities, Universitas Diponegoro, Bapak Herianto, PhD. And then all the lecturers from the library and information science study program and other department who are attending these visiting lectures, distinguished participant, especially student, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Faculty of Humanities, Universitas Diponegoro, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to today's Visiting Professor Program, organized as part of our online World Class University Initiative to World Class Faculty. And then we are greatly honored to have with us Dr. Ali Fauzi bin Ahmad Khan from University Malaya, who will deliver lectures on digital activism in social media. This is a very important and timely topic as it provides a way for individuals and communities to raise awareness, mobilize supporters, and influence decision makers in ways that were less accessible before the digital era. And then this program reflects our commitment to strengthening academic collaboration, enriching the learning environment for our students, and bringing global perspective to our university community. We believe that the insight and expertise shared by Dr. Ali Fauzi bin Ahmad Khan will inspire us to explore new approaches, both in theory and practice, that will contribute to the advancement of research and education. And then I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to our distinguished speaker for sharing his knowledge with us today, and to the organizing committee for their dedication in making this event possible. Finally, I would like to thank all participants for joining us, and I hope you will gain valuable knowledge and inspiration from today's session. Thank you, selamat pagi, and then I wish you all an engaging and fruitful program. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Prof. Alam, for the speech. Before we proceed to the main session, let us take a group photo for documentation purposes. We kindly ask all participants to turn on their cameras. Terima kasih, Profesor, atas sambutannya. Sebelum kita masuk ke acara inti, marilah kita melakukan sesi dokumentasi. Kepada seluruh hadirin dimohon untuk membuka kamera. On the count of 1, 2, 3. One more, please. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for all participants. Now it's time for me to introduce our special moderator, Muhammad Rifki Nurpratama, SEIP M. He earned his bachelor degree in Airlangga University, majoring in Library and Information Science. He continued his master's studies at Gadjah Mada University, Cultural and Media Studies, Information and Library Management major. Sekarang saatnya saya memperkenalkan moderator kita pada hari ini, yakni Muhammad Rifki Nur Pratama, SIIP, MA. Beliau adalah alumni dari S1 Universitas Airlangga, program studi ilmu informasi dan perpustakaan. Lalu beliau melanjutkan studi S2 di Universitas Gadjah Mada pada program studi kajian budaya dan media, manajemen informasi dan perpustakaan. Kepada Pak Rifki, kami persilakan.
Okay, thank you. PPS Master Ceremony. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, especially for our Dean, Prof. Alam Syah, and our Head of Program Study, Dr. Herianto, and all participants attending this visiting professor event. My name is Muhammad Rifki Nur Pratama, a lecturer in Library Information Science Study Program, Faculty of Humanities, di Ponorogo University. On this happy occasion, I have a privilege of leading a guest lecture session with our visiting lecturer, Dr. Ali Fauzi bin Ahmad Khan. Let me introduce our invited lecturer today, Dr. Ali Fauzi bin Ahmad Khan from the University of Malaya, Malaysia. Let me share screen first. One sec. So yeah, I hope my share screen is can be seen with your screen. Let me introduce Dr. Ali Fauzi bin Ahmad Khan, Senior Lecturer in Department of Library and Information Science, Faculty of Art and Social Science, University of Malaya, and he is have a academic qualification, especially, and the latest is PhD in Sistem Maklumat or Sistem Informasi in University Malaya, and MSc in perguruan from in the study perguruan sumber maklumat, PhD pengurusan and diploma, and in the UITM. He's have administrative duties as a program coordinator in Department of Library and Information, Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. And then he has award and stewardships, certificate of excellence and other else. So, and the important ones, he's have many publication that published in WOS, World of Science or Scopus. And topic is about social media role and about a community through social media, and the effect of social media, and other else about social media and information science. And he has a book, also chapter in book and article in proceeding and research project, and then the other academic contribution, and especially in Malaysia. Yeah. I think that the CV that I can present. Uh, so I will stop share. Okay. Yeah. Like I said before, he is specialized in digital communication, media, and social activism, and has published widely on the role of social media in shaping public opinion and civic engagement. Today, he will deliver a lecture on digital activism in social media, especially about digital archipelago. And maybe now, Dr. Ali, the floor is yours.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to everyone. Um, Thank you, Rifki, for the introduction to me. It sums up a little bit of what I do. But you know, yeah. I mean, but before that, sorry, a little bit of decorum. Yang saya hormati Dekan Profesor Alam Shah, Head of Program Dr. Rianto, MC Saudari Wahyu. Boleh ya saya panggil Saudari Wahyu? Boleh ya? Okay.
Ya.
And pensyarah-pensyarah or dosen dan juga para hadirin. It's a very great pleasure. Saya rasa sangat bertuah kerana dijemput dan sangat menghargai peluang ini. As you can see from my CV, I'm just an inquisitive person yang berminat berkenaan social media dan efek daripada masyarakat lah. You know, I also study social media a little bit when it comes to organizations. Recently, I've also looked into social media roles in publication on academics, but it has always been interest saya to understand how technology works with human beings lah society. I'm just an inquisitive person. I'm not an expert. Saya sangat berminat dan mahu tahu. Jadi I'm thankful that I am given this opportunity to share what I found out, apa pemerhatian saya dan sebagainya lah. Okay. Walau bagaimanapun, before I start, I mean, I'm supposed to start now, right, Rifki? Right? Okay.
Yes, you have.
I was also invited last week. No. 2 months ago. By the School of Media, I think, also in Universitas Diponegoro. But me and Rifki, we go back maybe 2 years uh, before this. Well, when he was in Universitas Unair kan, Air Langgar. Okay, so although it's in the same school from University Diponegoro, but Universitas Diponegoro, but my meeting with Rifki started way earlier. Okay, but before I start with my lecture lah, sebelum sorry, yeah, in the media school, I was requested to speak fully in English. So I prepared my slides, saya siapkan slides dan saya punya lecture notes also in English lah untuk sesi ni. But yesterday Rifki told me that I can mix between bahasa Melayu and English. I would like to say I would attempt Indonesian, but you guys can see through me lah, nampak terlalu berusaha untuk cakap Indonesia nanti. Okay, I have no, macam mana kata? On a personal side, saya memang ada personal affinity kepada kita seruput, I've had many discussions with my Indonesian colleagues when I was studying and stuff. One thing that I wanted to understand, bukan understand lah. If there's one experiment I wanted to do is kalau saya berbicara dalam bahasa Melayu sepenuhnya dan kawan baik saya itu berbicara dalam bahasa Indonesia standard sepenuhnya, can we totally understand each other, well, yeah, we did. Kita berjaya lah. Tapi dia kena bahasa standard. So, bahasa-bahasa dalam lagu-lagu kegemaran saya macam Dewa 19, Hilam 7 semua, okay. Totally understand. Tapi if you speak to me in the everyday Indonesian, I might have a little bit of problem. So, in the same sense, I hope bila saya berbahasa Melayu, I hope you guys will tell me kalau ada terms yang atau ada tema-tema yang tidak serupa lah. Tapi I think generally we should be able to understand each other. So on that disclaimer also, the lecture will be delivered mostly in English. Saya akan selangkan dalam bahasa Melayu here and there when I'm trying to make sense of what is on the slides. Okay. Okay, one more thing also, because I see that I've been given 2 hours, but this is a practice in University Malaya when we give talks to other universities. Please allow me to introduce my department first for about maybe 5 minutes, and then I'll jump to the lecture. Okay, saya perlu minta kebenaran daripada saudara moderator.
Yeah, it's fine, Doctor. You can
Okay, all right.
introduce your department.
Okay, I will share my slides here. I'll try to share, yeah. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen? Boleh
Yes,
nampak?
sir.
Saya minta maaf, dia bukannya full screen, so I have to share this in this way. So I know it's not that professional right now, but there's been a few updates.
Okay,
So
fine.
saya akan just go through a bit. Okay. Before saya perkenalkan diri saya, I'm from the Department of Library and Information Science, from the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences in University Malaya. University Malaya is the oldest school in Malaysia. Old, but nowhere near the oldest schools in Indonesia. We technically started in about 1955 in Kuala Lumpur, although we share the same actually, heritage with the National University of Singapore in 1901 or 1905 or something like that. So yeah, the oldest, our buildings will also show you that it's quite an old university if you ever had the opportunity to come. Okay, this is my department. Currently, this is just this. It's the same number. Okay, that's all of us. Um, so we have, in Malaysia, we've been in the forefront lah for about 30 years. We have been in University Malaya in that time, but for a long time we were in the faculty of computer science and information technology. We moved to the arts and social sciences in 2021. Okay, this is due to our focus is more on social sciences, and we've been there ever since 2021. So quite new to faculty of arts. Um, this is the basic history. 87, we started with the Masters of Library Information Science, and had a few significant uh, incidences, I guess you want to say, milestones from 87 to 2021. We also have a journal, and we also have a conference that we hold bi-yearly, okay, every 2 years. So this is the current makeup of my department. Professor Dr. Nuhidawati is the head of department. I'm one of the lecturers there. We had another professor, Professor Abrizah, but she recently retired. But she's returning as a visiting lecturer lah, visiting professor, honorary professor. I think that's the term now. Um, okay. Some facts and figures. We currently have about 200 students. We are a solely postgraduate department. Okay, masters and PhD. So if any of you are interested to continue your studies in University of Malaya, please do come. One advantage that I think suits us is the thesis can be written in Bahasa Melayu, which is not that distinguishable from Bahasa Indonesia standard. So there has been quite a few students from Indonesia that have come to our department and faculty, and the thesis is written in Indonesian. So, it's do come. Nak tulis in English pun boleh. Okay. Um, yeah, there are 4 programs of studies. We have international enrollment, and we have about 25 courses. Okay, this is our professors right now. Like I mentioned, Professor Abrizah, we have Professor Kiran and Professor Ida. This is the department members. Okay. We had visiting professors come to our department on 2-year contracts. So yeah, and well, a little bit. We belong to University Malaya, which is currently ranked at 58. But more important to our field, we are currently ranked at 29 in the world. In Southeast Asia, we're number 2 after NTU. And yeah, so that's where we are in the field lah, in the field. This is our research visibility. We have about 250 publications. We have all those numbers. It's in UM is all about matrices. This is our journal, the Malaysian Journal of Library Information Science. We have had a number of publications from Indonesia in the past. It's indexed in WS and Scopus, so we welcome articles from the School of Library Information Science in University Diponegoro, in Universitas Diponegoro. Please do send in your articles. We also have our conference bi-yearly, which it's going the next one will be in 2026. So please do consider attending our conference. It'll be held in Langkawi next year. And that's a bit about it. We have, like I said, we have 4 programs, all are masters programs. And Yeah, these are our research areas. Okay. We are starting with an undergraduate minor program, which focuses on data analytics. So I think that's it about now. It's too much. I don't want to take too much of your time. Um, so that's it from my from my department. So yeah, okay. So I will stop sharing for a while here about my department. I welcome any questions later. If you think there's a burning question that you need to ask immediately, feel free to interrupt me. Okay, so I will now proceed to the actual talk. Hmm. Eh, Bear with me.
Any problem, doctor? Or we have to help to share?
Um, Bear with me, bear with me. I just have to swap this. Okay. Okay, let me share. Okay. Okay. Um, can you see the slides?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, all right. Wait. Okay, all right. Um, okay, so I'll start now. Sorry about the delay. One thing that you might have noticed, anda mungkin perasan, I'm not that formal of a person. I cannot thrive in a very formal setting. So, I will try to make the suasana a bit light, okay, so that so we will all be comfortable, inshallah. Um, so the talk today this is not an academic concept. It's just something that I came up with, the digital archipelago, because rather than looking insularly, cuma melihat ke dalam Malaysia, saya cuba melihat also in the context of us being in the same archipelago lah. Okay, and our shared history, which cannot be denied, if it weren't for other people's, interest in what our archipelago has, we were basically operating, like siblings lah. Okay. So the title of my talk today, or my sharing session, is the digital archipelago. I'm going to be focusing on youth, network citizen and network citizenship, and the new empowerment in Indonesia and Malaysia. Okay, it seems a little bit odd seeing somebody with white hair talking about the youth, but sometimes we have to be outside a picture for us to see it clearly. And also, I may be able to relate a little bit because I was young once, and also I have children classified as Gen Z, and I know how different we operate. Yeah, we operate very differently. Okay. So, before I begin, I want to share a single statistic from the latest digital news report of as of this year. For the first time in history, social media has taken over traditional television as the primary source of news for people under the age of 30 in both Indonesia and Malaysia. Okay, because this goes well with where they were as digital citizens. Okay, my generation were not considered as digital natives. So digital natives, all statistics, has pointed out that's where the where people take news from. Okay. um, so yeah, both Indonesia and Malaysia, it's not a small change. It's a fundamental rewiring on how the entire generation perceives the world. Okay, so they don't watch traditional media, uh, being television news and things like that. They resonate more with social media. Uh, Betul atau tak betul, those are all up for debate. We have never been in a more polarized world than we are right now lah. We have people that are, we have intra-generational tension. We have people from demographic tension too. We have the political spectrum. So all of those create a mix yang is quite hard to understand from a traditional lens. Okay, kita nak make sense of it from a traditional lens susah. So we have to make sense of it as it is.
Sorry, Dr. Ali.
Yeah.
I think your slide still in the title.
Yes, I haven't moved yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's going to be it's going to be a long lecture, Rifki.
Okay.
No. So I'm just opening it first. Okay. So it's not a small change. It's a fundamental rewiring. And why I say it's a rewiring is because some people like me, non-digital natives, we have to live two lives. One is our traditional way of thinking, which unfortunately for almost all countries is the makeup of our governments. Betul tak? Kan? Cara fikir lain. But we are dealing with the most vibrant community of people, semua yang masih ada semangat, semua yang nak tengok like immediate change. We are dealing with the youth. They are from a different generation and mindset altogether. Okay, so within this context is I want to take you all in a journey in what I call, the digital archipelago. We will explore the new forms of empowerment, that are blossoming among the youth in both Indonesia and Malaysia, and also the profound challenges that we face. Okay, and the very definition of citizenship that they are reshaping in our deeply interconnected age. Okay, kita sangat terkait antara satu sama lain, whether or not we realize it or not. Okay, sangat terkait. Okay, so yeah. Okay, this is the next slide. Okay. So let's look at this first. So basically, the digital archipelago is a two-sided coin lah. Okay, dia duit shilling yang ada dua side kan. So it's a very common thing being used to explain one person with different personalities. So kita ada opportunity and also risk, right? So we must grasp, kita perlu faham the fundamental duality of the digital world. I often find the best way to describe it as a coin lah. So it's one body, you flip it and it's totally different. Walaupun some people argue it's the same value. It's a single object with two inseparable contrasting faces. So on one face of the coin, we have opportunity. Kita ada peluang. This is a bright, promising side that we hear about so often. Kita selalu dengar. It's the story of a young woman in a small village using her smartphone and TikTok right now, used to be Instagram, now it's TikTok, to build a modest snack business into a national brand. There are many case studies like that in Indonesia, especially. Uh, uh, so not only dia dapat introduce the snack as a national brand, dia boleh bawa kemakmuran untuk maybe bandar dia ataupun kampung dia. They can employ people within the community. It's also a story of students who use online platforms to learn new skills that their formal education may not be able to provide. Okay. This side of the coin represents connection, creation, most importantly, democratization of access, pendemokrasian akses kepada sumber market peluang. Okay, it's a space where good ideas, creativity, and hard work can, in theory, bypass many old structures. Okay, dulu market tertutup, only certain people from privileged backgrounds boleh ada access, but now it's with social media, it's open. I wouldn't say it's totally open, but there's more access now. Okay, but like any coin, you cannot have one side without the other. So on the reverse, we find risk. Okay, this is the part that has played out in front of our eyes, very starkly, I would say. Um, yeah, we'll get into the cases later. Okay. This is a darker, more complex side. This is a story of the same digital platform being used to spread scams that prey on aspirations of people, young people, older people. It's a story of online discourse being poisoned by sometimes coordinated disinformation, and which memang nak create social division. Okay, so dia bukan terjadi because people are talking. Some of these are people are planning, they pay a lot of money for disinformation campaigns. Okay, so it's a reality of a state of surveillance and an erosion of privacy. This side of the coin represents control, manipulation, and amplification of inequality. Okay, so semua benda opportunity yang saya mention tadi, access, opening of market, sebelum ni semua, it's also amplified. It's also dibesarkan on the other side. Masyarakat boleh dimanipulasi, masyarakat juga boleh dikontrol in a different way, and also unfortunately kesenjangan ekonomi pun boleh bertambah. Not only ekonomi, actually access pun, kesenjangan itu boleh berlaku. Okay, so this fundamental tension, okay, between peluang dan juga risk ni, it's a paradox between empowerment, kebolehdayan, I think, and control, between opportunity and risk. This is the central theme that we will explore today. It is a defining challenge of our time. Okay, and nowhere is it more dynamic and more consequential, okay, than here in where we are, okay, in Southeast Asia. It's consequential to us, it's also playing out throughout the world, dengan saudara-saudara kita di seluruh dunia lah. Okay. So, but it's consequential also to us because we live it every day. Setiap hari kita akan berdepan dengan dia. Okay. So, let's look at the foundational reality first. Okay. I apologize. My PC is a bit slow today. Okay. Let's look at some figures. Being people from the information field, all of us, me, including everyone here, we are supposed to be trained to talk based on facts, kan? So kita kena tengok fakta dulu, and then, well, we can still speculate based on facts, but that's the first place where we start off lah. Okay, so deep digital immersion. Okay, so for young people today, digital life is not a separate activity. It's the very fabric of their existence. Okay, like my kids, yang anak sulung saya lahir pada tahun 2008, as soon as he can like recognize anything, dia dah ada screen depan dia. Okay, uh, I did something wrong when I started being a parent. Kalau saya nak buat kerja, I have work to attend to, and my son is restless, I would give him a tablet, So now we know after 10, 15 years, that's not the way to do it. But everybody is learning as they live, kan? So saya lalu zaman tu. Okay. It used to be when I was small, to pacify me, my parents would tell me to go play outside. But, my generation 10, 15 years ago just gave, our toddlers, anak-anak kecil kita, phones, Maybe it's still being done now, but, Anyway, okay, so dia orang dah start daripada awal, dia punya life is digital, okay? We cannot escape this. The numbers are staggering and paint a clear picture of deep immersion. Okay, it's very deep, you know. In Malaysia, the penetration of the internet is nearly universal. Very simple argument, we are smaller in number than you guys. We are 33 million compared to like 260 million. Okay, so maybe it's easier to achieve penetration there, okay, because of the numbers are smaller. Okay, so we have about 97.4. It's a truly startling figure lah, this one. So the average young Malaysian spends about 8 hours a day online. Anak-anak saya pergi sekolah daripada pukul 8 pagi sampai pukul 3:30. So that doesn't really leave a lot of time for them before they go to sleep. But if this statistic is true, as soon as they come out of school sampai mereka tidur, they will be online. It's kind of worrying, tapi that's what the data tells us. 8 hours a day online. Okay. So think about that. I've tried to mention this now. Keluar sekolah, no phone. Balik sekolah, sampai waktu tidur, it's mostly online. It's crazy. I'm sorry, maaf saya gunakan word tu, but you really want to think about it, it's quite scary lah. Okay, 8 hours. So the global average is just under 7 hours. So Malaysia is worse. So the more you spend online, basically worse, they say. So this means our youth are living a full workday every single day in the digital space. It's not just a tool, it's a primary environment of socializing, learning, entertaining. So semua benda yang my generation learned offline, they learn online. Okay. I'll give you a very near example to me. I live in Kuala Lumpur. Okay. The national language is Bahasa Melayu, Bahasa Malaysia. But in Kuala Lumpur, because we don't have a single language like Indonesia has, you have Bahasa Indonesia, right? In Kuala Lumpur, the kids memang cakap English. It's not good. I mean, it's not a good feeling to see lah, as somebody who speaks Malay, right? This is due to many things. We have vernacular schools where, you know, the Chinese speak Chinese, the Indian speaks Indian, and the Malay speak Malay. So rather than in my generation, everybody speaks Bahasa Melayu, in urban areas in Malaysia, they speak English. Okay. So that comes from socializing and interacting with social media too. Okay. So that's something that's very close to me that I can give you an example of lah. But don't worry, the rest of Malaysia, except for maybe Penang and Kuala Lumpur, we speak Bahasa Malaysia. Okay. My generation, we are still very comfortable Bahasa Melayu, but I'm seeing that in the generation below me, diorang lebih selesa berbahasa Inggeris, which I wish it was the other way around. Okay. Okay. So Indonesia, the story is one of breathtaking scale juga, you know. Bila kita tengok nombor tu pun kita rasa macam okay, and explosive growth, right? 94% of people above the age of 18, adolescents, are active on social media. Okay, so you find the number, the percentage of the youth in Indonesia, 93% are on social media. Okay, I've read an article where if you were to interview people across Indonesia, what do you want to become? There's a lot of them answering social media influencers. You know, that's how ingrained it is in. Okay. So in between 2019 to 2021 alone, the country added about 21 million new digital consumers. It sounds a lot for Malaysians because we only have 30. But for you guys, that's 10%. I mean, slightly reaching 10% of your total population. So that's like 21 million new people coming onto social media where they interact, they understand the world, they consume media, you know, they purchase things. That's 21 million. Okay. So if we put that into perspective, that's adding an entire population of Sri Lanka, or maybe 2/3 of Malaysia, on the digital ecosystem in just a few years. I mean, that's the staggering number in Indonesia. Okay. So this growth is driven by increasing affordability of data and smartphones, you know, and pushing digital access to every corner of a nation. Okay. So these figures represent more than just connectivity. They are signal of fundamental rewiring of society. Okay. The alun-alun or town square is now TikTok, you know. So people from Papua to maybe Aceh can be consuming the same thing, you know, media ke apa ke, incidents, events within seconds. I mean, that might be nothing for somebody who is already a digital native, you know, that might, it's normal for them. But if you were to think about it, there's no equivalent at any time of the world. Sepanjang peradaban manusia, there's been nothing like this. You can argue maybe siaran langsung lah. So if you like Manchester United like me, so you've been living in the Gua for about 10 years or 12 years, you know. Okay. But that was it, you know, siaran langsung. That was it before social media. Now it's like seconds. You wake up in the morning, you know that Manchester United kalah pada Grimsby Town. Okay, so you duduk dalam gua lah, you know. I'm sorry if I'm making references to football. It might not resonate to a lot of people, but you know, it's real for us lah. Okay, it's a good time to be a Liverpool fan, I think now. But you know, they say two things you cannot change. Satu is your agama, number two is your football team. So you know, that's it. Okay, so yeah, so these figures represent more than just connectivity. Okay, it's a rewiring of society. The community hall now is maybe a WhatsApp group. You know, my department now decide big things. We discuss on WhatsApp. We don't have to like book a meeting room, pergi keluar makan to discuss things. Okay, the community hall now is a WhatsApp group maybe. And a political rally, okay, we have seen in the past 30 years very big political rallies doesn't start uh, on the padangs, on the squares. It starts with trending hashtags. That's where it starts, right? Totally sangat berbeza. And in this digital public square, it stretches seamlessly. Tadi saya bagi contoh daripada Aceh ke Papua. It can also cross Selat Melaka. Okay? It can also cross Laut Cina Selatan, right? So it creates a shared social, cultural, and political space for an entire generation. Okay, the generation that will inherit both countries and the world moving forward, lah, right? Okay, Rifki, if I go way beyond time, do let me know. Because this is my ni kerja saya, so I'm okay talking. So
It's fine,
do
okay.
stop me. Okay, give me
Okay.
maybe 15 minutes. Kata we have maybe 15 minutes to stop, so I can get through my slides faster. Okay,
It's fine.
okay, all right. I also have to apologize. My laptop is a bit slow today. Okay. However, I've already painted that picture about the numbers, that most of us are online. But research studies, we have to acknowledge that connectivity is not capability. Tadi Dr. Herianto mentioned that, um, being critical about the news that you read is not given. Maksudnya kita tak boleh nak assume semua orang akan bersangka baik atau buat research when they consume media, right? Sometimes apa yang dia nampak, that forms dia punya opinion, right? So it's not capability, connectivity ni. So this is another form of danger lah. Okay. While pushing for connectivity, kita tak address capability tu. Okay. We look at the critical skills gap first. Okay. The UNESCO said in its report last year, 2023, I think, 61% of ASEAN youth receive no formal digital skills education. Despite they are born as digital natives. Okay, no digital literacy courses. Now, I'm trying to advocate for AI literacy in Malaysia. But even digital literacy is only about 61%. No, it's only about 39% digital literacy training. So, this is very consequential tau. Dia punya kesan dia sangat sangat besar sebenarnya. Because, more than 60% tak ada digital literacy training. So, hanya Allah yang tahu macam mana they will react based on the information that they get. Okay. So, it's a critical argument lah untuk hari ini. Okay. We name this as the critical skills gap. Okay. And we also have a participation gap. This is what the researchers call it. Okay. It is the difference between having an access to a library and to actually knowing how to read books. Itu contoh dia. Okay. How to read books, how to evaluate the sources, how to synthesize the information. Okay. Our youth, can use the apps. Dia boleh pakai dah Instagram, TikTok. They know how to use the browser. They knowing to use is something that memang kita boleh assume everybody has now. But it's not necessarily equipped with understanding the algorithms that shape what they see. I'm not saying just the youth, even the older generations also don't understand what algorithms do, But we are living it. Kita melaluinya setiap hari without really understanding what algorithms do. Okay. Or how sophisticated this information targets them. Kita mungkin rasa bila kita bertindak, that is our idea, that is our principles. But when we consume social media, we might be targeted by this information. You can read articles about information silos. Maksudnya kalau kita start follow something on social media, all our feeds will be about the same thing, you know. So that's an algorithm at work for you. Or tiba-tiba something is trending, you know. You might think you discovered it on your own, but the fact is most of the time it was targeted to you, you know. So there's a participation gap there. So second, the digital divide. Okay, so the number one is the critical skills gap. Then kita ada kesenjangan digital pula, the digital divide. Okay, it remains a stubborn and consequential reality. This is a reality yang kita kena hadapi setiap hari. Okay, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a student in central Jakarta with a stable 5G connection, participating in an online course from, I don't know, maybe from some old guy from University Malaya. Okay. Now imagine a student in rural Sumatra pula, okay, sitting on a roof to catch an unstable signal, okay, to download the homework, for example, or to submit the punya tugasan. Okay. Both are connected, kan? Both are connected, but the opportunities are worlds apart. Sangat berbeza, you know. This isn't just an inconvenience, it also profoundly, it creates a profoundly unequal opportunity for education and also for participating in the digital economy and for making the voices heard. Okay. In recent memory, dekat Malaysia, you know, sounds, yeah, we're 97% and stuff. But as recently in 2002, there has been many reports of rural students kena panjat pokok, kena mendaki gunung untuk follow kuliah. Bukan gunung lah, bukit, you know. Bukit to Indonesia because you have many tall mountains. We only have Mount Kinabalu. So our mountains are like bukits for you lah, you know. But but this is real, you know. So yeah, the digital divide is still persistent, you know, because some parts of the world or a country is not economically viable to actually build cepat. Okay. So, and the third, we have the well-being deficit. The always-on nature of these platforms, the pressure of constant communication, and the exposure of cyberbullying and online hate have been impact this is well documented. Okay, kesan-kesan well-being ni because of social media. These platforms are designed for young people, unfortunately. This is not an accident. This is a feature of the attention economy. These platforms are designed to maximize engagement, to keep our eyes on the screen. And this business model often comes at a direct cost to the mental health and well-being of most active users. If you don't have enough digital literacy, you know, so this consumption ni, kita konsumasi social media ni akan ada kesan pada health kita pula, you know. And usually it's psychological health, not physical health, but more psychological health lah. So this brings us to a challenge that should concern all of us. Kita patutnya bimbang atau beri perhatian kepada semua pada these things. We have a generation that is fluent in using digital tools. Kita ada generasi itu, but are not critically evaluating the content of these of the things that they consume. Okay, so kita ada satu generasi yang sangat mahir menggunakan alatan digital, whatever it is, you know, learning macam mana nak guna app baru, macam mana nak guna social media baru, very skilled, very fasih, fluent. Tapi at the same time, kita ada kebimbangan yang besar mengenai keupayaan mereka, generasi ni, to evaluate this content. Okay? And we're seeing it playing out every day. Okay. When I gave this talk 2 months ago, Nepal and Jakarta did not happen yet. The Turun Anwar campaign did not happen yet. Charles Kirk did not happen yet. Okay. And I was talking about the possibility of something like this happening. I'm not saying I predicted it. I'm not the only one yang kaji social media. A lot of people do. Okay. But it played in front of our eyes. Okay. So anyway, moving on. I don't want to be too political. I'm just saying, I'm just relating how cases play out lah. Okay. Baik. Okay. Pathway one. So that concept yang saya dah utarakan tadi, we can look into two pathways. These are the two pathways that really affect the youth. Okay. Because I will explain later when we go to the because. Okay. Pathway one is the digital hustle. Okay. It's a term to say that kita punya usaha tu untuk mencari sebuah kehidupan tu is digital, Okay. So faced with that environment when I talked about this now, okay, of opportunity and risk, how are young people actually forging their own paths to power? The first and perhaps the most visible is the pathway, economic pathway, okay, jalur ekonomi, sorry. We are witnessing the rise of vibrant, innovative, and largely informal youth digital economy. This is at the core, okay, at the core it's about economic agency, kebolehupayaan economy, okay. In the formal job market where the youth employment remains a significant challenge, I think it's both in Indonesia and in Malaysia, okay. So, they are being creative and they don't really wait for formal work. My generation, habis belajar, apply a job. The youth now, they don't really sit around and wait for kerja dosen ke, kerja sebagai seorang banker ke. They find a different way, a different pathway. And it's digital, good or bad, well, we still have to see that play out lah. Kita masih perlu lihat ke depan. Okay, what's going to happen in the future? They don't have to wait anymore. Okay, they are bypassing traditional barriers, the need for high capital, formal connections, or a specific university degree. They don't have to wait for that anymore. Okay, they create their own digital opportunities, whatever it is. Okay, we often call this the digital hustle. This isn't about big tech startup stuff. It's not about, you buat a startup and make it. That's one of it, Tapi untuk rakyat kebanyakan who do not own startup companies, they still figure out a way macam mana nak make a life out of themselves using the digital platforms that they have, okay? It's about massive grassroots movements of micro enterprises. It's a student maybe in Bandung who makes a living of thrift flipping, pergi ke thrift shops and flip it for more money, buying second-hand clothes, styling them and reselling them on Instagram or TikTok misalnya. Okay, it's a young person in Sabah, live selling homemade cosmetics on TikTok. Or it's a gamer that have become a micro influencer for a local food business misalnya. I've been following this one guy. He is from, saya rasa Padang, but he married a Malaysian, and you can follow his TikTok and Instagram. Rio Makan, a breath of fresh air lah to me. He reviews Malaysian eateries and presenting it in a very light-hearted Indonesian way, and he celebrated both here in Malaysia and also in Indonesia, I believe. Rio Makan, look him up. Okay. Um, where was I? Yeah, okay. Yeah, micro influencers. A prime example in Indonesia's booming social commerce scene we're talking about. Okay, a prime example is Indonesia's social commerce scene. We're talking about an $8 billion US dollar market driven mostly by young people, okay, by the youth. They're using these platforms that they are already fluent in, okay. I wouldn't be able to sell maybe anything on TikTok, but the youth seem to be very good at this. Okay. So this represents nothing less than a democratized entrepreneurship. You don't really need to have Indo food kind of money, you can already start something up on your own. Okay. So pendemokratas uh, pem, uh, pendemokrasian peluang untuk commerce, untuk berniaga. Okay. The digital economy in this form has dramatically lowered the barriers to entry. Okay. It has allowed young people from incredibly diverse backgrounds to become merchants, innovators, participants in the economy on their own terms. Diorang tak payah masuk kerja 8 to 9. They don't really have to wear a coat and tie to go to work. They can start work at where they are. Okay. They can even leave uh, uh, traditional work jobs. In Malaysia, we have a good example, Khairul Amin. I don't know if you guys heard of him. He's an engineer by training. Dia seorang jurutera by training. Maksudnya, daripada segi pendidikan formal, he's done all of that. He did well in school, he went to a good university and all of that. But he left it to become the number one influencer in Malaysia lah. And you can see because of his grounding in learning traditionally and all, his messages are mostly positive. There's no incitement. It's all about passion. And he's managed to help his village, and become very recognizable as somebody who's doing good online. Okay, I'm sure there are also examples from Indonesia. All right. So okay, let me quickly check with all of you here. No. If you want to raise your hands, please do. How many of you have tried to make money online? Ramai tak?
Sorry, doctor, can you repeat it?
How many of you have tried to make money online? Maksudnya, sell something on Instagram, running a small online business. Because both of you are young, right? So, can I
Okay.
see a raise of hands, maybe? Is there a raise of hand?
Oke,
Uh,
boleh teman-teman siapa yang ingin menjawab? Gimana
Tapi
teman-teman?
pernah cuba untuk berniaga
Ya,
try to be a influencer or something like that?
ada yang bisa bantu jawab?
Ada tak?
Okay, yeah. I think the same case with your presentation, Dr. Ali.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we have so many influencer on TikTok or Instagram, and they sell like that and thrift market, thrift shop.
Mhm.
And then yeah, I think the live streaming in Indonesia is very popular now.
Yes, yes.
All the live streaming in TikTok especially, and then yeah, I don't know, it's called apa? Keranjang kuning itu apa? Keranjang kuning, affiliate
Yes.
product, yeah, and
Affiliates.
that's so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
many popular in Indonesia. I think in Undip we have kewirausahaan,
Mm.
and yeah, I think all the student we try to them to sell a product in social media.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you, Ricky. Um, okay, well, bagus kan? I mean, bagus lah. Maksudnya, uh, I see, well, I'm assuming this is something normal now. So even if there's only a few of you, it shows that this trend is alive among your age group, okay, among students. So for those of you who have done this, so you are part of this digital hustle, okay. So those of you who haven't, yang belum mula, well, there's no harm in trying lah. As long as it doesn't, saya bagi contoh Khairul Amin tadi, as long as it doesn't ganggu your studies, because having a good grounding in formal education penting actually, so that when you do something online, you try to do something that is consequential lah, yang baik. Okay. So the takeaway is that the youth digital economy is a powerful empowerment pathway. It gives young people autonomy and income in their own terms. Of course, the stats show not everybody berjaya lah jadi Khairul Amin. But there's a place lah, there's a space for for people to go to. Okay. It requires savviness. That's why traditional education tu penting. Okay. So, and also not everybody boleh jadi influencer lah. You need to be able to talk in a certain way. You need to, one thing that I noticed, looks isn't a big success factor lah. Okay, which is good, which is good. So it's the way you talk and the way your message goes across. There are many people now doing faceless videos and also doing quite well, right? So yeah, it's the democratization of all of this. Okay, so moving forward, I don't know. Wow, still have a lot more to go. How long do we have, Rifki?
Yeah, we until 10:30.
It's about an hour from now, is it?
Yes,
Lebih
1
kurang
hour
sejam.
from now.
Okay, boleh. InsyaAllah. Okay, I know most of you might be asleep by now, but it's okay.
I know.
I'll do my best. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Uh, I'm really sorry. My PC is okay. Apologize, guys. It's a bit too slow. Okay. All right. So look at a case study from Malaysia first. Okay. We have the Mereka or BG ecosystem. Okay. Mereka is a play on the word reka lah. Rekaan, creating. Okay. So with this broad phenomenon of the digital hustle, we have this broad phenomenon. But what does it look like when this energy is channeled into a structured formal pathway? For this, we return to a fantastic case study from Malaysia, the Mereka or BG ecosystem. It's called an ecosystem because it's not just one company, it's a powerful symbiotic relationship between a social enterprise a formal education institution and the community. So tiga pihak bergabung. Okay. Social enterprise, a university and also community setempat lah. At the heart is the BG initiative, a renowned social enterprise focused on kelestarian, sustainability, right? The education arm, mereka, partners directly with institutions like Taylor's University to create a physical and conceptual space, which they call mereka space. Now, this isn't a traditional classroom where you sit and listen to lectures. It's a space for hands-on, project-based learning. It's a direct and powerful answer untuk one gap kita tengok tadi, a critical skills gap. Okay, imagine a student's journey here. They might enter a workshop to learn digital fabrication or coding. They can take that skill and join an incubation program mentored by BG. So the youth come dengan skill. They already have a skill, and then they go to makerspace, and then they enter macam a focused program for them. Okay. So, so they develop a business idea that's not, hopefully is profitable, but also socially responsible. And through the partnership with tailors, they can even get academic credit untuk the degree that they're taking for, and yeah, at the same time, they are developing something. They also get credits for their university program. Okay, so this model creates a complete end-to-end pathway that provides hand-on skills and it nurtures an entrepreneurial mindset. Okay, as a result, based on also their tracking, okay, in practice, mereka has also proven that 76% of their graduates report a positive change in their employment status. That's a huge number. Okay, and this isn't just about getting a job, it's about getting better livelihood lah. Okay, mereka dapat meningkatkan kedudukan ekonomi mereka. Okay, the average graduate sees an income increase of nearly 700 ringgit a month, right? Yeah, so this is something that's scalable and can be replicated, So yeah, this is one example lah from Malaysia. Okay, now let's look to one case study in Indonesia pula. Okay. Okay. The TikTok Shop and Tokopedia partnership. Okay. Uh, so if represents a structured deep ecosystem. It's a model of an ecosystem driven model lah. Our next case study in Indonesia represents empowerment through a different but equally powerful model lah. And the scale is huge compared to mereka tadi. Mereka tadi is quite small lah. One university, one community. But this TikTok and Tokopedia partnership is huge. Okay, besar. This is more than just a business deal. It's a story of immense political and economic power. Okay, so both the government and also business enterprise took part in this. Okay, so what happened is a very good case of a strategic decision. Okay, TikTok didn't just lobby; it invested. TikTok didn't just ask from Indonesia, but also invested 1.5 billion into a strategic partnership with a national tech champion. Okay, Tokopedia. This move not only allowed it to re-enter the market, maksudnya TikTok was out sekejap, and then it came back in with this. It allowed TikTok to re-enter the market, but also aligned it to Indonesia's national economic goals. Maybe you guys don't feel it, but the world sees Indonesia punya digital economy as a very good example. You guys created an economy yang tak ada into ada within maybe 5 years. Within 5 years. So I know there's also argument saying that, there's still many pockets of poverty, but this jump is macam nak kata, there's no jump more significant than this. Indonesia is a very good example. You can only do better lah, right? So so this new entity combines TikTok's reach, with Tokopedia's trusted e-commerce infrastructure. I don't really know how popular Tokopedia is, but this is what I get from the literature. So it creates a single seamless platform that with a combined user base of 125 million people. So the focus is memang on small players. We're not talking about big players. We're not opening a shop for Indo food. We're opening it for small players. That's what they did. 90% of the merchants are micro SMEs. They are heavily promoted through government-sponsored beli local, right? assuming you guys heard of it, turning the platform into a key partner for the state. So case TikTok Shop and Tokopedia partnership ni demonstrates a different model of empowerment. It's not about formal training program, but it's about providing instant market access to 125 million people. You know, it's actually open to all 230 million, but 125 million are already in the user base. Okay, so it's empowerment, kebudayaan through reach, TikTok's reach. So it allows a young person in a small village with a good product and a smartphone to bypass all traditional gatekeeps, to sell directly to a national audience. Somebody maybe in Sulawesi can buy something that is produced by somebody in Lombok misalnya, right? So, the scale is actually mm, impressive, very, very impressive. It's a powerful lesson on how modern digital power navigates and often reshapes the political landscape. So I know you guys are facing some problems right now, but I want you guys to know the world looks at Indonesia as a very good example. Even, we have a relatively young new government. Okay, it started in 2023. And now we're at 2025. Our digital push, we are looking at Indonesia actually. Malaysia is melihat kepada abang besar kita to Indonesia of how you guys have progressed in the digital economy. Okay, I want to give you an example. If I were to open Shopee, which is the number one e-commerce site in Malaysia, I can buy products from Indonesia easily. That is due to Indonesia's policies, because they've managed to negotiate with Shopee to actually open your market, not only in Indonesia alone, but you can already reach Malaysia, but Malaysia is still not there yet. We cannot sell to Indonesia yet, but Indonesia already has that. So that's why I say Indonesia is a very good example for the world in terms of opening the digital economy. Okay. So what does that signify? Okay. Sorry. This was the slide I was talking about, So you have 125 million combined user base, 1.5 billion investment committed, and 90% of small businesses here. Okay, what does this create? It creates a generation without borders. Okay. Okay, you were looking at this at the wrong slide just now. Anyway, okay. So it creates a generation without borders. Okay. Now let's look at the pivot from economic to social political. We will see that these two pathways are interconnected in a way. Okay. So this same platform which opens economic opportunities is also one that affects your consciousness tau. Kita punya sudut pandang, right? Okay. So let us pivot from economic to social political lens, because the same forces of scale, connectivity, and platform power are also reshaping citizenship itself. So to understand the explosive political events of the past year, okay, we must first recognize that this generation's identity is global actually. It's not local anymore. Um, Things have a scale kan. Dia ada micro and dia ada macro, right? So your micro and macro dulu used to be your community, maximum your country lah, right? Now your micro is your community and your macro is the whole world. So it's a generation without borders. Maksudnya you can participate in the world without actually living, without actually crossing your border. You can participate in the world. There's a few interesting cases. I'm going to highlight a few. Okay. So, so the frame of reference is no longer defined by national borders. Local action is now fueled by global consciousness. Kita punya keterbukaan dan kita punya tahu tu, what we know, bukan tahu makanan tu, what we know right now is not only local, it's also global, right? So through the algorithmic feeds of TikTok, X, Instagram, or whatever you guys use now, Discord, I believe, the young people in Southeast Asia inhabit a shared global digital commons. Kita memang share a global digital space. Well, I'm not the youth lah, but the youth share that, right? An event happening in another country is not a distant piece of foreign news anymore. Okay, kita terasa, the youth will feel that. I'm not youth again, but you guys will terasa what happens elsewhere, right? In its content of the feed today, the global process of, contohnya, the bad part, radicalization, um, both positive and negative, uh, it unfolds in these three stages: global exposure, lens formation, and local application. Okay, the first is global exposure. The algorithms are designed for virality, okay, not nationality. Okay, these algorithms ni, studies have been found that they live on virality lah, not nationality. This means our youth witness and debate international events in real time, often in raw, unfiltered way that bypasses traditional media. They see the passionate free speech protests of US university campus. We see what happened in Indonesia. You guys might see what happens in Malaysia. We see what happened in Nepal and stuff like that, right? So they're also exposed to heart-wrenching, sangat-sangat menyedihkan, on the ground, first-person videos coming from Gaza. So, yes, we can choose to swipe up, we can choose to tutup, but it's there for us to see, right? Okay, so global exposure is the first thing. And second, this is shaping your sudut pandang, your worldview, is lens formation. The constant exposure to global events does more than just inform, okay? It shapes the entire understanding, of complex concepts. Contoh macam, now we understand how the state works. We understand a little bit about geopolitics, right? Democracy, the good and bad of capitalism, social justice. So to see how other citizens around the world hold the governments to account, misalnya, right? This affects other governments too, I wouldn't say this is completely new. It happened actually maybe 20, 25 years ago. No. That's too long. About 20 years ago with the Arab Spring, right? It spread because of this. But you have to remember, then it was the reach of social media was still quite limited. But now you can imagine, okay, it's bigger, faster, So it forms our lenses lah, macam mana kita pandang. Dia membentuk kacamata kita, how we view the world, right? Okay. So we learn new tactics, new languages, new standards of what we should expect from our leaders misalnya, and the debate of free speech, contohnya in US campuses. Now, all of a sudden, gaji menteri di Indonesia, orang Malaysia pun tahu. Gaji menteri di Malaysia, orang Indonesia pun tahu. Gaji Singaporeans pun kita tahu. It used to be something even Malaysians tak tahu gaji menteri Malaysia. But now, you might know. And finally is local application. All right, this is the last one. Not the last slide, unfortunately, is the last, the last step. Local application. They take on, now everybody can take a global lens, and the new understanding of what is possible and what is adil. You know, apa yang sepatutnya seorang rakyat biasa sepatutnya boleh rasa, boleh nikmati, boleh expect from the life, is not only viewed in the community. It used to be like that, I can only see the walls of the world from my kampung. But now, no, you can actually see good examples from across the world, and you can expect that from the people who govern you, you know. So yeah. So it's a generation without borders. That is one thing that kita boleh tengok it. So we can transition now from pathway one, the digital hustle, to the second pathway, okay, which is, okay, let me get my slides right. Pathway two is the rise of networked citizenship. Okay, I'm going to try to paint that we are all connected in a way, right? Regardless of our passports and where we live. Okay. The Milk Tea Alliance. Okay. So we can see these three things: transnational solidarity, an amplified voice, and a collective resilience. Okay. The global consciousness that I tried to explain today is a fuel for a second great pathway of empowerment. It's the rise of networked citizenship. This is where the youth use digital tools to fundamentally redefine what it means to be a citizen. Okay, kita pakai tools tu untuk mengubah cara kita jadi seorang rakyat lah, seorang rakyat sesebuah negara ataupun sesebuah region. Right? It's no longer a passive identity that defined by passport. Saya cakap tadi, it's a civic duty performed once every few, or cuma berlaku semasa kita jadi pemilu, semasa pemilu. Okay, no. It's a It is a network society of active, continuous, and often participation of the public in the national or international scale. Okay, so it no longer about where you are rakyat of which negara, or or you only participate semasa pemilu. Now you can participate, I guess, every day, of issues that are common to everyone, not just our current president or our current wapres. It's everything. Okay, it sounds too much everything, but that's the truth. It's a pathway we can go to. Okay, all right. Okay, one is transnational solidarity. We have two good examples here. One is a digital network called the Milk Tea Alliance. Okay, you can look this up. It was created as a regional solidarity among pro-democracy youth in Thailand, Hong Kong, Myanmar, Malaysia even. Okay, and they didn't just share a message of support, they also shared practical tactics like how to deal with tear gas and how to organize protest routes. They amplified each other's hashtags from one country to another country using the Milk Tea Alliance. Okay, it's a play on, dekat Malaysia ada teh tarik, dekat a lot of countries ada bubble tea. I don't know. I think Indonesia also has teh sosro or something like that. So it's a play on that word. So it's not only tahu, but also sharing with each other important things macam tactics and stuff like that. Okay, so these networks yang solidarity ni, it provided an amplified voice. Okay, in the pre-digital era, youth movements were dependent. Mereka bergantung kepada traditional media gatekeepers, newspapers, TV stations, which can also ignore them. But now social media allows young people to bypass those gatekeepers and set their own agenda. Okay, forcing issues into public discourse. Good or bad, debatable. Okay, And crucially, they foster collective resilience. Okay, the third part lah. Uh, a traditional hierarchical organization can be decapitated by arresting its leaders. Okay, to me, the incidents in Nepal was like crazy lah, you know. A network movement, however, is like the internet itself. It's a distributed network. Shutting down one node just sees the energy rerouted to others. So this makes modern youth-led movements incredibly dynamic and much harder for states to extinguish actually. Okay. Good or bad, again, kita boleh discuss lah itu. Okay, let's look at specific cases now. Okay, let's look at Malaysia first. Okay, I'm sorry about this. Tak apa. I'll talk about it later. So in Malaysia, we had one significant because it actually changed the law lah. You can look up the hashtag Undi 18. Okay, that one was a big movement in Malaysia that actually started, organized uh, by the youth, for the youth, and it actually happened. So it used to be the voting age dekat Malaysia was 21. Because of Undi 18, it actually got changed to 18. And after that, after that, you can also to a movement like this, they managed to make voting automatic. Automatic meaning you don't have to register to vote anymore. You know, you can, everybody can vote lah, right? As soon as you hit 18, right? So those are the two things in Malaysia that happened. Okay, so in Indonesia, you guys are more eventful than us lah. Lagi banyak big, important cases that happened in the social media field. Okay. So we look at the evolution of digital dissent in Indonesia. Okay, why we highlight dissent? Because they consequential. Maksudnya dia ada impact, dia ada dampak. Okay, okay. We see a vivid illustration of how youth movements can evolve over time in a dynamic dance of action and reaction between the youth and the people in power. Okay, you guys like really showed the way in 1998, 1997, right? So let's focus on two recent youth-led protests in Indonesia. Number one is the hashtag Reformasi di Korupsi in 2019. And number two is Tolak Omnibus Law in 2020. Okay. I'm speaking from someone from the outside. I'm sure you guys lived it differently, maybe, right? But let's see how it happened. Okay. So, Reformasi di Korupsi 2019 erupted as a response to perceived backsliding on the reform and anti-corruption efforts, right? Basically, a series of controversial bills and decisions, including the weakening of KPK, Anti-Corruption Commission, and the proposed criminal code yang dilihat sebagai kuasanya mengurang, regressive, okay, and sparked an outrage among students and young people. What was unique is how the so-called meme generation channeled the internet culture into activism. You know, you guys use a lot of memes to actually propel activism, which is an interesting thing to see. Okay. If you scroll social media, then you would see protest memes, poster yang lelucon, and viral videos that bantu untuk garner support lah, right? So youth leverage creative humor and relatable content, draw in peers who might otherwise ignore politics. So mungkin golongan muda yang tak begitu aware cakna mengenai politics because of these memes and that hashtag made people, more youth actually participate in reformasi di korupsi. Okay, so and it spread to cities, Jakarta, Bandung, Yogyakarta. One of my favorite songs is Sesuatu di Yogyakarta by Aditya Sofian. Okay, I wish I can play guitar like that, but so tak pernah sampai Yogyakarta lagi. Hopefully one day, insyaAllah. But not only did it spread, spread to is one thing, but there was also coordinated efforts. The uh, uh, mm, the demonstrations too, it happened with coordination. So, it's it was an interesting case to see. So in 2020 pula, we saw a second chapter, another year, we had tolak, you guys had tolak omnibus law, okay, where the government tried to introduce omnibus bill, but critics, many of the youth also, felt it threatened things like labor rights, environmental protections, and more. So by now, the activist community, okay, this is where the pathway takes place. The activists in 2019, okay, so they jumped, they managed to coordinate more quickly when they were faced with Tolak Omnibus. Okay, so but it got more sophisticated in some ways. So students joined hand with labor unions, environmental groups, and other civil society members. So this broader coalition united through social media, and they also did something else. They did an encrypted, they used encrypted chat groups. Before this tak ada in 2019. There was none documented lah. But in 2020, they started using encrypted groups. So they use more advanced digital tactics. For instance, they circulated toolkits on how to organize safely, maps of protest sites yang effective, list of emergency contacts via Google Docs and Instagram stories. So tech-savvy protesters even utilize VPNs and alternative platforms so that the government tak boleh nak kekang secepat mungkin. So that's how awesome you guys were masa in between reformasi di korupsi dengan tolak omnibus. Okay. The thing about this, bila you guys dah manage to create that ecosystem, Google Docs, encrypted chat groups and other things, well, the government learned about it, okay, and they also tried to find a way to uh, uh, to counter this lah, okay. But it's an evolving thing. We see what happens later on in 2024, 2025. So the government tried to launch a digital counter-offensive. There was a surge of pro-government propaganda and misinformation online. Unfortunately, I'm sure you guys might remember this, okay? It was no longer everybody on the same page. Sekarang the government pula are pushing out pro-government agenda, okay? I hope I won't be barred by the Indonesian government. I'm just telling how it was. Okay, I'm not taking sides. As a researcher, I'm telling how it happened. So the youth organized, they made a successful protests and things like that in 2020, and the government tried to counter. I just want to say that this also happened in Malaysia. Okay, we had a very eventful political event. Series of events between 2018 to 2023. I don't know, maybe you guys read about it. We had like 4 prime ministers in that time. There was political backstabbing and stuff like that, and until the last pemilu in 2022, sorry, yeah, end of 22 towards 2023, you can see that the sitting government really went all out in this campaign of misinformation. Okay. And for the pembangkang, it was really hard to match because the pembangkang didn't have that much money to like counter. So yeah. So there are significant events in Indonesia and Malaysia regarding this, meaning that one group found a way to push for activism. The other group found a way to counter using the same platforms. Okay, so that's what happened lah in both countries. Okay, so um, however, for the omnibus, tolak omnibus, it did not it did not manage to like actually stop it from becoming a law. But takeaway here, okay, there's a takeaway here. Even though it did not change the omnibus law, something did happen in the background. Okay, so although it was a defeat for the movement, yet the experiences did not leave the youth demoralized. Actually, so you have latent power. I'll explain a little bit. Okay, so although it did not pass, something more important happened in the background. They've built networks and skills that did not exist before. Okay, network and skills were gained through reformasi di korupsi and also tolak omnibus. So the Indonesian youth activists today are more connected. Okay, activists from Aceh are connected with the activists in Flores. Activists in Flores are connected with people in Kalimantan. More connected. Okay, that's something that did not happen for 2019. I wouldn't say it entirely didn't happen, but it increased in the closeness lah, the connectivity. Okay. So the youth activists are more connected, more experienced, and perhaps more strategic because of this. So it's worth asking what changed between 2019 and 2020. We asked that first, 2019 to 2020, and what does it tell us? Okay. One thing is the context change. By 2020, the state actors are better prepared for digital descent. They think they were, up until July this year. Okay, they think they were better prepared, and they were ready to play hardball both on the ground and online. Maksudnya, they thought that in 2020, because of omnibus law, they thought that youth activism couldn't affect them. Okay, this is documented. I'm not saying anything macam trying to be pro-government or anything, no. But that's how it felt, it felt. Because tolak omnibus, it was organized well, it did not change anything. So they thought, we can do anything we want. You want more pay? Go ahead, I can give you more pay or something like that lah. I'm making a joke here, right? They didn't see what's coming, right? Because I remember in my talk in July, many of them asked me, well, you said that, now we are more connected and all, but why things are changing for us? Why are things getting worse? So I told them, this is what research tells. Okay, it's not what Ali Fauzi says. It means the power of connectivity and the skills that you guys gain from reformasi di korupsi and tolak omnibus is something that you cannot deny. It's called latent power. Maksudnya, it didn't change something then, but you already have a very strong foundation. Dasar je dah kuat. You have good connections between youth groups. You have the ability to organize secepat mungkin, right? Sometimes it's too fast, before the checking of information, something has already happened, for example, right? But that's it. It continues to build. Even though maybe you did not win dekat tolak omnibus, but you guys know what happened in the past month, right? This is all because of the latent power that you guys had. Okay. So, that's what happened lah. All right. So each side, both the government and also the movements learned from one another. They learned and they tried to evolve. As communicators and citizens, we should expect that any online activist, any activity any success will invite an online backlash or repression. Okay, so you can see that playing out lah later after this. Okay, so that's what happened in 2019 and 2020. Up until 2 months ago, some of the youth felt mereka merasakan tidak ada harapan untuk sebarang perubahan walaupun mereka terus protes. You know, I can report this because I actually experienced this in my talk in July. They asked me this, they felt hopeless, they felt powerless. You know, I did not galvanize them to kata, oh, you have to go and burn stuff now. No, no, no. I said, you have this power already. You know each other, you know how to, where to meet up, where's the best place to like make your voice heard and stuff like that. True enough, something happened. Okay. A nation at a boiling point, Indonesia 2025, it happened. Okay. So in February 2025, there was another protest called Indonesia Gelap. Another hashtag, another activism happened, right? So the long evolution of the digital design in Indonesia brings us to the critical events in 2025. Again, it's not a single protest, but a sustained national crisis, a slow burning fire lah. Slow lah, it started in February and then finally dia meletus sekitar August, September, right? So a few months. A slow burning fire that finally erupted. Okay, the year began with a sense of growing unease captured by the hashtag Indonesia Gelap. This wasn't about a single issue. It was a widespread expression of discontent in the country's economic direction and feeling of democratic regression. A sense that key institutions semakin melemah, and that the voices of ordinary people tidak didengar. Okay. So the situation exploded in August, but the trigger memang built up from February lah. The trigger was seemingly a small issue that symbolized deep and arrogant disconnect between the political class and the people. A proposal of $3,000, not ringgit, a month housing allowances for lawmakers was enough. Because there's a connection that we can make from omnibus. Nothing happened, right? The people did not protest. Did not protest beyond rallying. It didn't protest beyond that. So maybe the government felt macam, maybe we can make a few changes lah. So they passed that, which was argued as highly insensitive. I don't know how you guys feel, but maybe that's it lah. This is what's been documented. Okay, ni bukan pendapat saya. So the public, with that raise, okay, the public felt struggling with high inflation, severe economic hardship. It felt tidak sensitive lah. Okay, that was what was reported. So the outrage wasn't just about money, it was injustice, ketidakadilan. Okay, this is what actually captured the attention of everybody, us Malaysians, I guess the world, you made headlines everywhere because it happened within 3 days, August 25th to August 28th, 3 days, okay? The movement found a unifying symbol, the government definitely didn't, well, I wouldn't blame, for this instance, bukanlah the government, it was an accident, something happened and there was unfortunately it was recorded that accident between a Grab driver and a military vehicle kan. So that was a trigger point lah, and then after that it just spiraled into something that honestly, as a social media observer, I didn't expect it to go that way. I didn't expect it to go that way secepat itu dan separah itulah. I mean, it's kind of parah because, houses were burnt and stuff like that, but it's how fragile it was, daripada 2020 to 2025. Okay. 2020 to 2025 is 5 years. But August 25th to August 28th is just 3 days. Okay. So, okay, let's zoom into the uh, unfortunate incident. Okay. Uh, Almarhum Afan, do doakan untuk dia. He was not a political leader. He wasn't even a student activist, right? He was just like trying to go about his day mencari rezeki, right? Um, but his social status summed up what was going on. The ordinary Indonesian is struggling every day, long hours to make a living, you know, but at the same time, laws that seem very out of touch happened. So, so that's the trigger point lah. Right? I'm not saying anything beyond what happened here. Okay. So by September, so that basically galvanized everything. Public anger, sympathy, cross class. You have people from the academic world. You have people seemingly from the higher economic brackets also talking about this. It created discourse everywhere. And by September, this raw online anger built from this trigger, um, caused many things. Many things happen on that on because of that. But I'm not. What happened? The law or the allowance did not happen, right? And also some key people who were not sensitive were removed from power, and there was a slew of changes that happened. The Bapak President announced a lot of changes, so you can see it still works. I'm not advocating for uh, I feel bad saying this. I'm not advocating for extreme measures. I'm not advocating for destruction of property and stuff like that. But I'm not advocating that at all. But digital activism is real and it is very consequential, and it can cause positive impacts, be it raising the age of voting in Malaysia or being the ability to change laws in Indonesia. Okay, so it's there. So all of this became the 17+8 movement, a name representing a specific platform of demands that culminated from this. Okay, so inilah dampak dia 17.8. Okay, so yeah, again I'm sorry, wrong slide. Okay, so anyway, all of that from 1990, 2020 to 2025, okay, inilah dia punya dampak dia, hasil dia. The movement 17.8. Okay. Um, okay. It is absolutely crucial to understand that what emerged from this angle, okay, ini yang penting, bukan saja riot tu, bukan saja agenda peristiwa pembakaran dan riots itu semua. Okay, yang paling penting untuk kita dapat, it was a highly organized public movement with a sophisticated and detailed reform platform. Okay, this platform is known as the 17+8 lah, permintaan demand 17.8, which was largely developed, debated and refined through online collaboration on secure digital platforms. Maksudnya, all that latent power yang ada tu, connection apa 2019 tu, all of that platforms have been used untuk curate the 17+8. So you can see all those reforms lah, freeze lawmaker allowances, all the way sampai create a fairer and more just tax system. Okay. So yeah, so all of those. So you can see daripada rasa hopelessness in July 2025 to now having something substantial, benda yang boleh dilihat, boleh dipegang, boleh boleh digunakan sebagai peringatan untuk government, the 17 plus 8. Okay. So you would think, duduk kat rumah, I think, okay, this is the worst that could happen lah. Okay. Of course, the worst is Gaza lah. So you thought that the riots in Indonesia was the worst that could happen. But a little bit out of our region, something similar happened. Okay. Oh, sorry. Before that, still on the same point lah. Okay. Remember the Milk Tea Alliance? About uh, mm, about the milk tea thing and how people, social groups organize with each other. Okay. What positive we saw on the regional context was the digital solidarity that happened lah, during the riots and the protests in Indonesia. Okay. A powerful grassroots movement, okay, of digital solidarity emerged from its closest neighbors, which redefined the regional concept of kinship or serumpun. Kita rasa lebih dekat lepas tu, and we can see that beyond our debates on siapa cipta batik, siapa cipta rendang and stuff like that, we saw something really good happen, okay, which is digital solidarity. Okay, the spark once again was the tragic death of the Grab driver. He became a symbol of struggle for ordinary people. The struggle resonated deeply with his fellow gig workers and youth, not only in Indonesia, but across the region. Okay. In response, a viral movement began where Malaysians, okay, I would like to think maybe Malaysians started it, but then the other countries followed, or maybe it was spontaneous, semua orang buat at the same time. Okay, so they repurpose Grab's ability to hantar makanan across regions too. They use that, to support our brothers in Indonesia. Okay, so the method was a brilliant hack. It's not a hack lah, but using that tool for humanitarian purposes. Okay, so they would, I'm sure you know how it works right now. So I just change my location in my Grab app to Indonesia, and then I can just send it anywhere. Okay, so this is not isolated. This is a big phenomenon. Grab's own officers officially acknowledge the significant and a measurable surge in food deliveries in Indonesia, which originated from foreign countries during the peak of this protest. So this is a very beautiful story to tell, So it's not only a beautiful story to tell, but for the people living it, I'm sure, bukan I'm sure lah, I'm hoping and berdoa that Allah actually helped alleviate the people who were going through hardships during the time. So the impact is profound. First, it provided tangible aid. Maksudnya, I don't have to go to the Indonesian embassy to actually try to help. I don't have to buy a ticket to fly across the Straits of Malacca to go and help. I can just in my kain sarung, in my room, and do something to actually help, So that's something that, it's profound lah. Okay. So, of course, this created a deep emotional connection. The Indonesian riders reacted, expressing thanks and stuff like that, which I don't think is the thing that we need to highlight lah. If we want to help, kita tolong secara ikhlas kan. We don't really need people to thank. But because of this pemberian dan juga ucapan terima kasih ni, we actually felt very close for that time. It felt that we were adik-beradik lah. We were siblings. Thus came that hashtag siblings. you know. So yeah, so we've already highlighted the bad things that happen, but there are also some good things that we can acknowledge happened lah. Okay. Okay. So that's what happened between Indonesia and Malaysia. And then when you ask, can it be any worse? Well, not far from where we are. It's about 5 hours flight away, right? Something even worse happened, but not in the way that we think. It's not the incident that was worse. Well, the incident was worse, you know. Uh, mm, uh, but maybe you could connect between the two, right? So the Nepo kit that happened, okay, this one was really highly insensitive from the people in the government, right? And what happened was like, yeah, I've never seen that happen before, right? Okay. Anyway, I won't touch into it. I think I will speed through a little bit. I will try to sum all these cases together uh, in the concept of the digital archipelago. Okay. So all of these cases, the two pathways, digital hustle, the network citizenship, right? Um, so it gives you an empowered, it gives you, all right. It brings our central thesis lah, this discussion into a focus, which is the empowerment control paradox. So let's make this very concrete. The same Grab app that was masterfully repurposed to deliver aid and solidarity to Indonesian protectors is also a platform to track the price, location, and movement of every one of its drivers. Okay, data that can be and often is accessed by the state authorities. Okay, so this is the paradox. While we appreciate what Grab did in those times, there's also something that they are doing every day. They're tracking us to the exact location we are, right? Okay. So the same social media platform that hosted the digital parliament in Nepal, okay, there was one thing that I wanted to highlight that didn't happen in Indonesia or Malaysia is the youth in Nepal actually convened a digital parliament using not WhatsApp, not Facebook, not TikTok. They used Discord. That was a big highlight of the case, right? Showing that Gen Z is now not really using Instagram and all. They are using Discord or WhatsApp. They're not even using WhatsApp. They're not using WeChat. They're using Discord. Okay. So that's one thing lah. If you wanted to research, maybe we could research Discord now. Okay. Okay, that's the paradox. The same power that's being used to like foster all these connections atau daya untuk merubah atau activism is also the platforms that can be used to like exert control. Okay, this is a paradox that we have to face lah. Okay, so it's used as a empowerment control paradox. So this is it lah, the same platforms that give the youth unprecedented power to demand change also give states and corporations unprecedented power to monitor and control them. Okay, so let's look at the tools of control. There's legal pressure, information operations, direct repression and surveillance. Okay. The use of restrictive laws like Indonesia's ITE law to criminalize online speech and arrest activists. Okay, these laws create chilling effects that extend far beyond physical prosecution. Okay, the evidence you can see that the Indonesia's democratic freedom score declined to 56 over 100. It's now rated partly free, unfortunately. You know, Malaysia is trying to do something too. You know, laws governing hate speech on social media. They're trying to do that too. Okay. it's been seen as a new weapon lah. Okay.
Sorry, Miss Dr. Ali.
Yeah.
It's around 5 minutes again.
Oh, 5 more minutes.
Yeah, 5 more minutes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So basically, okay, 5 minutes. All right, all right. So yeah, you have legal pressures and you have information operators. Information operators ni is less formal, but it's a battle of narrative, okay, where cyber troopers or buzzers are deployed to spread disinformation and discredit protesters through coordinated behavior on social platforms. That's number two. And number three is direct repression and surveillance, where police crackdowns and digital organized protests and systematic confiscation of mobile phones is something that's been put into law. Okay, so this is the paradox lah. Okay, and these three, okay, legal pressure, information operations, and direct repression and surveillance are the tools that are being used by the state and corporations to actually uh, counter this wave of activism and things like that. Okay, so what can we do actually? I'll try to percepatkan, right? So we have to cultivate a shared digital future. Siapa yang boleh membantu? Kita boleh tengok governments can do their role to create enabling policy environments that protect digital rights dan boleh foster lah innovation and civic participation. Civil society boleh advocate for digital rights. Universities and educators like what we are doing now, kita boleh tekankan digital literacy tu. So this brings us to maybe while the protests were happening, there was some key misinformation that people acted on, which turned out not to be true. Contoh macam saya, when I saw the people in DPN dancing, you remember the context lah. The context where people were like dancing because gaji dia naik. Everybody, a lot of people believe that. Even my household believed macam, were they dancing because gaji dia naik? You know, apparently it wasn't the case. But unfortunately, the riots happened because of that, you know. So it was fueled by misinformation. So, you know, some kind of control kena ada lah. But the best control to me is digital literacy. People are supposed to like vet through the information that they get before reacting. Okay. And private sector should build ethical technology platforms and they have to invest in human capital. Okay. Okay, so from connectivity to capability, we have to tie this back to the slides on that. The government should mandate critical digital literacy education, and they have to nurture youth entrepreneurs. Indonesia is already at the forefront of this. Your digital economy master plan is actually a benchmark for a lot of countries. It can only be better, you know. And you also and governments can also protect digital rights. Universities, contohnya macam Undip and UM, boleh lead in curriculum reforms, foster cross-border collaborations. Hopefully, maybe Rifki can come to UM pula, or maybe I can physically go to Diponegoro, and you can also incubate innovation, right? Okay, a little bit more. And we can also invest in people and ethical tech. You know, the private sector can build future-ready workforce, and the civil society can advocate for more digital rights. And let's do this, okay? Let's do. Hold on. Okay. In conclusion, as we bring our journey through the digital archipelago to the close, okay, I want to leave you with three final thoughts to summarize what we've seen today. First, The digital archipelago is at a tipping point. Number two, the youth are not passive victims. They are the most potent agents of change in our society. So kita boleh paint daripada 2019 to 2025 what happened, right? And finally, that empowerment is real, but it's fragile and fiercely contested. Okay. Our collective challenge is to equip the youth with critical skills, supportive ecosystems, and fundamental rights so that they can become the true architects of our future lah. So memang besar harapan untuk the youth. You know, nasib dunia ni is on the shoulders of the youth. Okay, not on older people like me. Okay, so with that, uh, I don't know how many of you are still alive now. Okay, mungkin ada yang cuma alive di apa ni
Hmm.
dekat meme je. But thank you very much for allowing me to speak for about 2 hours. You know, tekak saya dah kering, nak minum air kejap.
Ya, silakan, dokter.
Sorry.
Oke,
Thank you very much. If there's any questions, I'll pass it on to Mr. Rifki. If you want to follow my research, you can scan the QR code. Okay. Thank you. Terima kasih banyak-banyak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
salam. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ali, about your presentation and make us more more interested with digital activism. And so I hope the participant have a question to Dr. Ali. You can raise hand or via chat in Zoom. So okay, we wait for you guys to ask the question to Dr. Ali.
Any questions?
Okay. In chat.
In chat. Oh, okay.
Okay. How does the phenomenon of cross-border digital solidarity, in the example is Grab delivery solidarity, I think Avan, like, reflect information communication theory in building regional kinship?
Ini, sorry, I'll open the check. Oh, information communication theory.
Yeah,
Is it? How it affects?
how that reflect?
That's a that's a very interesting question. Hold on. Wait, yeah, I have to turn this off. Sorry. Wait, okay.
Right.
Okay, that's well, I wouldn't be able to answer that on the theoretical sense because obviously I haven't looked into information communication theory. Um, I don't know, it would be interesting for me to like hear what you think about it. So maybe I can weigh in lah. Sebab you know it's a question about a theory that I think I have to. It's best if I were to like really read about it and think about it before I answer. Do you have any thoughts of your own? Maybe how do you see it affecting the information communications theory? I couldn't see your question, so saya tak boleh nak.
Oh, okay.
Siapa yang tanya tu? Boleh tak? How do you have any ideas? Maybe we can, mungkin kita boleh bicara how you see it affects the theory itself.
Okay, maybe I have to symbolize the question. How does the phenomena of that digital solidarity to help Afan Kurniawan as a Grab delivery driver, reflecting the digital solidarity.
How did it?
Yeah.
I think if we were to that one, you have to go back to vi virality studies. What's the word in Malay? Studies on ketularan di social media. It's not something that you can really cage, like dia tak boleh nak. We cannot put a cage around it, because humans are humans. When it strikes a chord daripada segi psikologi tu, sometimes dia melangkaui kewarasan yang optimal, So you saw that, lepas tu kita tengok penceritaan di sebalik video tu, dia dia menyentuh, sometimes without even really like understanding why, how it happened. Bila benda tu terlalu emotional, your reaction are usually very quick, regardless sama ada tindakan itu berdasarkan maklumat yang betul atau tidak. Okay. If you remember correctly, the way it went in the social media and also traditional media was they related it as a direct government reaction. Maksudnya benda tu berlaku lebih kurang sengaja. Walaupun ultimately when we had time to reflect, it wasn't sengaja. Ia tidak disengajakan. But the reaction was that. Okay. So the reaction was that, maksudnya kaitkan dengan opresi, dikaitkan dengan insensitivity. But after that, when I'm glad even the 39% yang digitally literate tu, they took time to like actually look into the problem. So the problem was not only the problem wasn't the incident itself, but it was a more deep dive into rakyat kebanyakan macam almarhum Afan. Macam saya cakap tadi, what was he doing then? He wasn't protesting. Dia sedang mencari rezeki. Right? So now that is positive. People actually saw the exact issue. Benda yang lebih penting daripada ketidaksensitivian government, tapi dan keberantakan itu sendiri, they actually saw something bigger, something more moral, something more significant, the actual lives of working honest Indonesians. So what did that do? That one actually helped galvanize yang the siblings movement lah, the Grab thing, because it was an actual focus on the right thing, bukan the accident, but on the lives of people. So I think that's the best way saya boleh simpulkan lah. I hope that answered your question. If you want me to quote the exact theory, I will have to get back to you on that. Right. Ada soalan lain?
Okay. Yeah, that's the answer, Nazir. Okay. Still in the chat. I will read it.
Why cannot I see the chat? Is
Yeah.
it the
Okay. I think it's direct message to me.
Oh, okay, all right.
The last is
Okay.
okay. I want to ask, what can do when corporation like TikTok or X or Twitter control the platform where activism take place, and how can we maintain credibility in the era of this misinformation, disinformation, or hoax?
Okay, all right. Okay. If I if I understand properly, apa yang kita boleh buat mengenai
Yes.
platform, bila platform nak control. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, there are two ways of looking at that one first. Satu, kita boleh belajar daripada 2019, 2020, 2025. We find creative solutions. We find creative solutions. Contoh macam the activists were using Google Docs for organizing, and Nepal especially, they use Discord. I've tried to talk because I don't use Discord. Tak kerti pakai. I don't know how to use it. So I talked to my son about it. They say, I know this is what I haven't really looked into it. I spoke to him about it maybe 2 days ago. There is less control of the corporations on Discord. I don't know how true that is, but it just shows that, when corporations try to control something, the people will find ways to navigate through that, so so they will find ways. So because the answer is, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. It's a private corporation. Unless kita adik-beradik Elon Musk lah, then maybe we can say something to him and do something. But as rakyat kebanyakan, we cannot do anything. So what we can do is try to be creative and find our way across those restrictions. One. On those platforms themselves, we have to, you can already see people trying to solve it. Contoh, macam TikTok, Instagram trying to ban words like Israel and Gaza. You know what they did, right? They use emoticons, they use different spellings, So there's this always cat and mouse thing lah. Maksudnya kita kena, one step ahead. Diorang jumpa penyelesaian, kita kena cari penyelesaian lain. Okay, I hope that answers it. So one is for you to is for us to like find alternative ways of getting our message and also trying to game the algorithm lah, Number two, tadi apa soalannya?
How can we maintain credibility in this era?
Maintain credibility. Okay, all right. One is digital literacy lah, AI literacy. There's just tak ada satu perumpamaan silver bullet untuk masalah ni. Tak ada. There's no. If you look into the literature pun, nobody can say for sure what is the solution. But with everything else, ilmu adalah jalan yang terbaik. So digital literacy must be taught, so that people talk with maklumat yang betul dan menggunakan, akal mereka dengan lebih baik based on mempelajari literacy. It's something that everybody can learn. Another way of being credible is, I mean, this is a bit personal, I would say, how I look at it, and of course, it depends on you guys also how you consume your media. It's cara maklumat tu disampaikan. There's a new term called rage bait. Dulu clickbait, perasan tak? There's a term called clickbait. Maksudnya people just do postings for people to click. Now there's a term called rage bait. Maksudnya tujuan posting tu untuk buat orang marah lah, to get a reaction. Right? So if we know that rage baiting is not a reliable, credible way to like understand. Right? So you have always kena take a step back before you understand or react. Tapi you also, contohnya, if you are a influencer, you must also try to project that. Cuba sampaikan maklumat dengan mengatakan macam, this is not me saying, bukan saya yang berpendapat sahaja. Saya bersetuju dengan pendapat yang mengatakan, okay. So how you project your message also needs to be credible lah. Like I try to make my claims in my lectures. I don't say this is what Ali Fauzi says. This is what Ali Fauzi understands from the literature. Dan itu yang saya cuba sampaikan. So that's it lah. Dalam Islam kita ada konsep yang sangat baik, tabayun dan husnuzon. So banyak benda yang kita boleh belajar daripada sirah dengan untuk cara menyampaikan maklumat. Contoh-contoh terbaik kita ada. Contoh sahabat, contoh Rasulullah. We have a lot of examples there. Okay. Ya, panjang pula nanti jawapan saya, Rifki. Ada soalan lain tak?
Okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ali. That's the answer for Berlian Askar Ramadhani for your question. Any question, guys? Any question again? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Dr. Ali, and maybe more than agree, because in Indonesia, Indonesian people, I think, very connected, yeah, in social media, and also I think influencer in Indonesia, I think now is too more political.
Oh,
Too loud to speak about political in social media, and and the phenomena. I think all the many influencer have paid to speak about the political perspective. I
hmm.
think Indonesian people too connected.
Too connected.
Too connected. Yeah. Yeah, that's the example. The followers uh, agree with all the influencers say, and I think about the policy, and that's make us reacting um reacting too much.
Hmm. I,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
where
maybe.
that's where we have to also on the questions now.
Mm,
The people who know, orang yang sedar, orang yang ada apa, kesedaran ni, they have to be they have to amplify the voice lah.
mm,
Yang we need to be a bit more uh, contemplative. Kita kena digital literacy lah. You have to everybody yang ada kesedaran ni, you have to focus on this. Maksudnya you have to advocate digital literacy. I mean, my personal view, that is the best way.
mm,
That is the best way. You need people who know how to use the tools, macam my first argument tadi, reti pakai, tapi kena pakai critically, kena pakai dengan ilmu, berilmu. You have to, jangan percaya saja, jangan terus percaya, and like Ricky cakap tadi lah, because the danger is overreaction,
yeah.
which I don't want to hurt. I don't want to be controversial here. I think there's a bit of overreaction
Mm,
in Indonesia in some of the cases. I'm not saying all,
yes.
some.
Okay, maybe the last question, Dr.
Mm.
Ali, is from Rahmawati Nurfitri.
Mm.
Uh,
I mean,
Nowadays, many young people, even children, are active on social gaming platform like Roblox.
mm.
Yeah. Uh, in Malaysia also play Roblox or not, and it felt very global now. In your perspective, Dr. Ali,
Mm.
good platforms such Roblox also be seen as potential spaces for digital activism.
Oh, yes, very interesting. Yes. Again, bila saya bagi respon ni, I'm responding as somebody outside because I don't play Roblox. I'm not a gamer at all. Langsung tak.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys know this game, Minesweeper. Maybe you guys
Yeah.
don't know. That's like the only game I know how to play, okay? But my children are living that, They are from the Minecraft, Roblox generation, but they've moved on. But I know there have been studies, and also I've seen my children also being involved in Roblox protest. meaning that the youth organize themselves. And what surprised me, it wasn't a local in my kampung thing. It wasn't a Petaling Jaya thing. It was a world thing where they gathered on roadblocks for Gaza. So yes, I mean, I didn't cover that, but I know for a fact that yes, it happens. The same how Discord happened, Discord happened for Nepal. Roblox also happened in the past, but maybe there is a case where ada dampak physical, tapi I don't remember a case. But if that protest on Gaza is happening on Roblox right now, we can actually see kesan dia. We can see dengan right now UK, France, apa semua recognizing Palestine, the Sumut flotilla. All of that is also being discussed on Roblox, right? So is it a potential place for social media, social activism? I would say yes. I don't have any proof right now, tapi saya dah lihat generasi anak-anak saya menggunakan, and there's also cases talking about it. Okay.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Ali, I think that question is enough, and the answer is very interesting and help us to understand more than enough. I think now I will conclude the presentation of Dr. Ali. Dr. Ali Fauzi, the digital RC Pelaku, highlight the new reality of youth in Indonesia and Malaysia in the digital era. The digital world is double-edged sword, I think. Yeah, it's empower young people to express themselves and build a business and engage as a as a citizen in Indonesia. And also in another way, it's bring disinformation, surveillance, and inequality. Yeah, Dr. Ali outlined two key pathways. I think the first is digital hustle, where youth create economic opportunity through digital entrepreneurship, as in TikTok or Tokopedia, and the second is network citizenship, where young people use social media to build a transnational solidarity, to push and reform 17 and plus movement and reformasi di korupsi on other areas. Yeah, I think the closing statement that I can have is youth are not passive victim to but the strongest agent of change. Our task is to equip them with critical literacy, a supportive ecosystem, and digital right of protection so they can truly shape our digital future. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of our discussion. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to sincerely thanks Dr. Ali for sharing his knowledge, and also thanks all participants for your active engagement. With that, I think I return the session back to our MC for the closing. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to our speaker, Dr. Ali Fauzi, for the insightful matters, and to our moderator, Mr. Rifki, for guiding today's discussion. Thank you also for all of participants for joining and actively contributing to the session. We hope the session has been valuable and enlightening for everyone. See you at the next visiting lecture. Don't forget for student participant to fill the attendance in the G form at the chat room. So good afternoon and thank you. Terima kasih kami ucapkan kepada narasumber kita Dr. Ali Fauzi atas pemaparan yang sangat menarik, serta kepada moderator Bapak Rifki Nur Pratama atas jalannya diskusi yang luar biasa. Kami menghimbau kepada seluruh peserta untuk mengisi Google Form yang berisi daftar hadir dan jangan lupa untuk mengisinya ada di room chat ya teman-teman. Sampai jumpa di kuliah tamu selanjutnya. Selamat siang dan terima kasih.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. I hope we can meet again in other activities.
Inshallah, inshallah. Okay. Thank you. Nice meeting you, Rifki, and everyone.
Yes,
Bye.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay, we end the session. Thank you, Dr. Ali.